Sitting here again talking about the same things.
Yeah, so we missed the start time on the show. Unfortunately. Unfortunately, that was not the only thing missed this week.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
Welcome,
I think
everybody.
Going.
Yeah, welcome, everybody, to another episode of the FBS Report. Red, tell them what it stands for.
Duh, comrade. The FBS Report states fucking bullshit.
And there was a whole lot of that to go on throughout this entire week as per the norm. We're going to go ahead and get started here in just a second. First off, Obates 2002 starting us off with a 5. Appreciate it, buddy. Says, now it makes sense why Virginia Tech didn't want to keep playing Old Dominion in the future. I had a feeling about that one. Yeah. That was we're going to touch on that in just a second. Don't you worry. So I'm going to go ahead and say this, Red. I have put my voice cords through the ringer this week. Really, really bad.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
What happened?
No clue.
Yeah.
No
dude,
clue.
Come on now.
Some sort of event that transpired Saturday probably had something to do with
for
it.
real. Like I did a full 4-hour stream for the Notre Dame game, and my vocal cords are fine. And I had 2 teeth removed like a week and a half ago.
And who was playing in that Notre Dame game? Remind you?
I don't know.
Not Ohio State. That's who. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, some I don't know, some owl nappers from College Station or something. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. Yeah, okay. All right. 21st Century Schizoid Man. What a name. Got it sending us off with a 5 here. As an Idaho alum, I'm happy that New Mexico didn't ruin Jason Eck. I can find shit. You want to say that word for me, Red?
Schadenfreude.
Thank you. And UCLA laying an egg that they fired their coach already. Yeah, no, man, it's been a week for a lot of us, that's for sure. Appreciate the 5, though, buddy. Let's go ahead and talk about that, shall we? I feel like we should just go ahead and start that. Well, first off, I want to go ahead and say appreciate all of you guys for watching. You're all wonderful, phenomenal people. We thank you for participating in tonight's live chat if you're in there. And if you're watching this afterwards, we appreciate you for that as well. Now, if you guys want to go ahead and support the channels, that would be absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't subscribed to both me and Red, I don't know what you're doing, but you need to go ahead and get on that literally right now. Our merch stores are also somewhere in the description. So if you want to go ahead and check that out and get some merch featuring me or Red, then by all means, go ahead and do that for us. Why don't you? Yeah, that would go a long way. So thank you all for participating. And
you buy this shirt, just saying, this is a pretty cool shirt.
Yeah.
It's got a skull, it's the channel logo.
It's beautiful. Cool. Real spectacular. Yeah. When I can afford some more merch, I absolutely plan on maybe purchasing some more. We'll see in due time. But let's go ahead and talk about we got to go ahead and talk about some stuff, shall we? When did you start?
Yeah, I think we should just go right to the elephant in the room, buddy. I think there's no escaping it. The people came here for one reason, and one reason only, and it's to see that, man, Georgia Tech just beat the shit out of Clemson on Saturday, didn't they? My fucking God, that game was so awesome to watch. I'm not even going to lie to you. That shocked the hell out of me to see Georgia Tech just take Clemson to task. I'm not being facetious or nothing here. That was something else.
It was a great game. And Georgia Tech pretty much dominated that throughout the entire game. And the thing is that Clemson, right before this season, before the season began, they were the tank conference. They were on top of the world. They were the team. They were the program to dominate the ACC, or so we thought. As the game went on, you could just slowly hear the tether breaking. You can just hear the strings just slowly breaking apart as the game progresses. Clemson's defense got absolutely exposed by Haynes King. They shut down the run, but they weren't able to shut down his run. He ran all over them, passed all over them, did exactly what they want to. And it kind of ended the exact same way the Florida State-Georgia Tech game did in Ireland last year, where they basically tied Florida State, like Clemson did, tied the ball game up at the very end. Georgia Tech has a minute or so to go down the field and score. They use all their timeouts pretty early, and I'm thinking, what in the hell are you doing? You used your final timeout with something like 20 seconds left. The only way you're going to be able to kick this field goal now, if you even get into field goal range, is a fire drill. You got to literally get it and then immediately get the field goal team out there and kick it. And to their credit, they did exactly that. Georgia Tech got the first down, got into field goal range. It was a 50-something yarder field goal, so it definitely wasn't easy. But they immediately ran out there, kicked the field goal, and win the game. Georgia Tech fans rushing the field. Congratulations to my friends C-Dog and Rec Talk on an absolutely that's a really, really good win for Tech, because let me remind you that Georgia Tech is before that, I think it was a 9-game losing streak to Clemson. Yeah. I mean, it's been a long.
It was 2016 when they beat them last, and that was also when Bobby Dodd.
I actually think that was 14.
Nah, because it hasn't been a full decade since they last beat Clemson. It was an upset for sure, but my whole thoughts. You were saying as the game went on, it kind of became the tether was kind of breaking. Man, when I saw Clemson play against Troy last week, the tether was already broken. It's hard to tell how good a team is week one. And we all saw that they played against LSU, and they held their own, and they did pretty decent. So we all thought, okay, they'll come out next week and just beat the shit out of Troy, give them a hot dog and a handshake and a couple $1 million and call it a day. But then they struggled, and they struggled hard. And I thought to myself, holy fuck, there's no way they're going to beat Georgia Tech if this is how they're going to start. And sure enough, they started the exact same way. The offense was stagnant from the start. Georgia Tech's defense just ate them alive. Cade Klubnik coughed the ball up on a design quarterback run in the first quarter. I think that was the second drive of the game. And Haynes King, just without any regard to his body or life, just threw himself repeatedly at that Clemson defense. I mean, he was getting beat the fuck up. I think Georgia Tech is good enough as is to make the ACC championship and potentially win it. But you got to make sure Haynes King survives the rest of the season first, because if that's how he has every game, he's not going to make it to week 8.
No doubt. Rangav248, appreciate the 20, man, says, good Monday to you both. Squid, I know it hurts, but at least you aren't South Carolina. The Nerds took the state out back like Old Yeller. Also, congrats, Red, you reverse jinx Texas A&M with the video. Play the Latin theme music. Appreciate the 20, buddy. That goes a long way.
Yes, sir.
Well, yeah, wow. No, I mean, that was a great win for Tech. And they've solidified themselves now, along with Florida State and Miami, at the top of the conference. There's still a lot of ball to be played left, but right now, as long as they do what they're supposed to, Tech is going to be in that conversation at the end of the regular season for possibly the ACC championship and maybe even the playoffs if they manage to get to that point. Because this is a huge win. They're going to be. I mean, the rankings have already come out. We've already seen Georgia Tech is in the top 20 now. And as long as they continue to do what they're supposed to do, they're going to keep winning games. Completely
agree with you. We all thought Georgia Tech was going to be a dark horse coming into this season. We all knew that what they could do. They had a really complete team, pretty much returning all of their starters from last year. And we saw what they could do. They had flashes of potential in 24, and now they've really broken out because they understand the assignment. This is the window right now. So they are going after it for everything in their being because they're not going to get another chance next year with their current core.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, the stats tell the whole story here. So, look at that as you will, because we got to move on to the next game. And since there was a super chat earlier about it, we might as well just go ahead and touch on it. I knew Lenora Sellers was a huge part of this team. No, everybody knows that with South Carolina. Lenora Sellers is a huge part of their team, but I don't think it would have made much of a difference. You just got destroyed. Straight up. Yeah. I mean, you just got absolutely obliterated by the Commodores. Diego Pavia, dadgum, went into Williams-Brice at night and annihilated South Carolina. And you could say Sellers as the team or whatever, but South Carolina's got a pretty good defense too, and Vanderbilt took care of that pretty easily. Diego Pavia just threw all over them, 177 yards through the air. Yeah. They struggled to run the ball, but they split it up between several different players, finished out with 146 yards rushing. So I'd say that's a pretty good job overall. Yeah, and I mean Luke Doty, I mean, he did okay for the spot that he was thrown in, but it just wasn't enough. Nowhere near enough to get the job done over Vandy. And somehow, some way now, here we are in the year 2025, the current year, Vanderbilt is now a legitimate force in the SEC. They are going to be a problem for everybody that they play. So I cannot believe that's coming out of my mouth, but Vanderbilt is indeed a contender in 2025. I mean, that's just absolutely insane to say.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Squid. On paper, and to all of us that have been around for a long time, looking at these numbers right here, we immediately look at it and just say, "Wow, Vanderbilt, really?" But as soon as if you watch the Commodores last year and what Diego Pavia is capable of doing, and if you were watching him in New Mexico State before that, you knew this team is dangerous. It was a matter of if they were going to have the rest of the pieces in place to really do something with it. And it appears in large part, thanks to the transfer portal and NIL, they're now able to do something with the talent that Diego Pavia has brought to Nashville. Now, the one thing I'm going to say right now is this. We can all talk about, well, South Carolina didn't have Lenora Sellers. You're absolutely right, 100%. And it's a tragedy that he was not in this game. But Squid, I agree with your thoughts on this, man. Even if he was in this game, Vanderbilt was going to win it. Because Lenora Sellers doesn't throw 5 pick sixes and cost them the game here. That's not what he would do. The defense completely collapsed for South Carolina. Beamer's got a lot of fucking work to do over there with his defense, and he needs to get it together and quick for the Cox, because that team ranked 11th in the nation, had its own ton of promise. Like we talk about Vanderbilt, like, oh wow, these guys are, they could be like something bit major this year. South Carolina's never won the SEC since they joined the conference in the early 90s. They are 0 for fucking almost 40 years as a never been an SEC champion. To my knowledge, I think they've only been in the game maybe once, if at all. Mm-hmm. And this team was supposed to be the team that finally broke through that ceiling, and I don't think they're going to at this rate, considering Sellers is hurt now. And Vanderbilt just made them their plaything. Pavia is going to, I'm curious to see what the rest of Vanderbilt's schedule looks like, because at this point, I'm kind of wondering, like, is Vanderbilt a SEC championship contender? Are we seriously going to start considering that? Because if they are,
it's up in the air.
Heads will fucking roll at multiple SEC schools, not Vanderbilt, but heads will roll.
I mean, but again, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure he's already received some sort of coaching position, some offer. I'm sure he probably received some offers last year, but now I guarantee you, before this season comes to a close, he's going to get some major offers. Clark Lee is. I don't know where. Mm-hmm. It might be some of the schools that we're about to talk about, but Right now, yeah, no, Clark Lee has really built something with Vandy, so we'll see. I'm excited to see what he's got.
But hey, real quick, I think a lot of coaches are starting to kind of wonder, like, is the grass ever really greener? Like, if these schools with all the NIL money they're getting in, if they could just match the offer or get close to the offer some of these other schools are getting, it wouldn't surprise me if we start to see more coaches say, you know what? I'm good here. I'm going to build a dynasty here. Instead of doing what Kayla and the board did and go to fucking Alabama of all places and just become a pariah. I think a lot more coaches are going to start considering, like, maybe I should just stick here and really get comfortable and build the program into something special, because it could, I don't know. I want to see that personally, because it would guarantee a lot of fucking programs suddenly are going to start to catch up to your blue bloods.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You hit that one right on the money, man. Yeah.
I mean, when was the last time we saw a college football program rise from zero to hero within? I just realized my green screen was totally out of position. From zero to hero in the course of a few years. I think Miami in the 80s was the last team that went from unknown to, renown. Like, what other teams have done that?
I ain't got a clue. A clue. Kevin with the 10, appreciate it, buddy, says, should be noted that Vanderbilt also never won an SEC championship since they joined it either. That said, I agree. If Vandy wins, hell freezes over, and I don't mean Michigan either. Appreciate it, buddy.
That's every December.
Okay, well, I'm going to say, because we're going to move on here now, I'm going to say, I mean, there are a lot of outcomes that shocked me over this week.
Yes.
This one blew my mind, and it's not even necessarily that they won that shocked me, because I actually picked them to do it, Red. You picked the other team, and I picked them to do it.
Yeah.
This game was a spectacle. This was an absolute spectacle. Texas A&M goes down there at the very end of the game and wins it basically in crunch time. Marcel Reed suddenly reawakens from the dead. Le'Veon Moss had a pretty good game, 81 yards. But again, Marcel Reed, 360 yards out of 17 passes. That's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. DJ Carter, pretty good game. But again, here's the thing with Notre Dame that probably concerns me the most. This isn't just a one-time thing now. Now we've seen it with two teams, Miami and A&M. Jeremiah Love has just been lackluster. You'd expect for him to get a lot of carries, and he certainly did, but he just wasn't able to get anything done. And most of Notre Dame's, scoring drives have been just, have been directly them passing the football. So it's a cause for major concern, I think, for Notre Dame.
I agree
that Jeremiah Love is not getting much going on. But I mean, now they're 0-2. You know what I mean? They're 0-2, just lost to A&M. A game that they desperately needed to win, because now they're kind of in a similar situation to Clemson. They need to win out in order to be in the postseason conversation. Here's the biggest problem for them, though. They don't have a conference championship to go, back into. They don't live in a conference. The best they can do now is 10-2, and they're 0-2. They're somehow still ranked, so that does help them slightly. But now here, I know, but but now here they are. They got to win out, and even then, the conversation is going to be tough, because these were two games that they desperately needed to win in order to stay in that conversation. You can go 10-2 with a win over Miami or A&M, because both of those teams I think are going to finish pretty good. But now, the rest of your schedule, you're going to need one of your remaining, one of the remaining teams in your schedule to rise up and be a contender, so that you have a really, really big win to back off of. Because if you're sitting there and the best team that you've beaten is like a 8-4 USC, go up. That's all I can say.
I agree. That's the biggest thing that we got to face now in Notre Dame. I'm just going to point this out right here. Why is Notre Dame ranked? What have they done the first 2 weeks? Oh, they only lost to Miami by what? 3 points? Ooh, big accomplishment. Who got the W? Right? Oh, I'm sorry. You lost to Texas A&M by 1 point. Ooh, who got the W? Who the fuck cares how much you lose by? You lost. That's the one thing that pisses me off. And I'm glad that this is how I, remember now the AP poll. I'm so happy that the media polls no longer determine the national championship. You have no idea, because this is absolute blue blood bias, in my opinion, 100%. They're giving Notre Dame the benefit of the doubt because they're Notre Dame. Look at the rest of Notre Dame's schedule. I'm going to walk you through it. I got it pulled up right here. This weekend, Purdue, going to be a cakewalk. Duh. That becomes a game, they're in trouble. Arkansas, it's SEC, but it's also Arkansas. They could get upset because it is in, Fayetteville. But again, it's Arkansas. Boise State, a game that we thought was going to be a good one for them and strengthen them. And by and large, they completely fell out of the top 25 after one loss. I'm going to remind you, one loss, they fell out completely. Wonder why that is, media. Notre Dame plays NC State. Yeah, have fun with that. Yeah, NC State's 3-0. Who have they beaten? USC, 3-0, top 25, barely by the skin of their teeth. By October, they're going to lose a game or two. I promise you. Boston College, Navy, Pitt. Pitt is Pitt. Syracuse, Stanford. That's it. Which of those games to me, if I was a media guy, and I'm in the college football playoff committee, and I'm looking at this schedule, and I see they run the table, my thought is, yeah, I think any decent SEC team in front of Notre Dame would have done the same with that schedule. All you got to do is look at it. If Vanderbilt goes 10-2, they're getting in. If Alabama is 10-2, they're getting in. If Ohio State, God forbid, is 10-2, they're getting in. Tennessee, they're getting in. The power conference teams with 2 losses right now, as it stands, are going to get in before Notre Dame has a fucking chance, because Notre Dame has 2 losses and now they're forced to be at best the 12th seed. And that's if they get lucky and the SEC cannibalizes itself again and there's a lot of 3-loss teams. And then Notre Dame might have a shot. So it makes no goddamn sense that they're still ranked. They need to win and prove something to me before I put them in the top 25 again.
Yeah, no. Real quick, I want to address this. You have Clemson ranked in your poll however you want to talk. I didn't talk. He did. I'm not saying anything about my poll because it's it doesn't matter. None of these polls matter. It's all literally based on opinion. So, but here's a fact for you. Mario Craver is him. 7 receptions, 207 yards, and a touchdown. Yeah, Mario Craver is absolutely him.
They couldn't cover. They couldn't cover him during that game. I watched that game live on stream, and I was calling his name a lot, and there were a lot of big plays. He just mossed Notre Dame's defense. It was embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was some Jeremiah Smith type shit I saw out there.
So congratulations to A&M on the win. I mean, that is a big win for them. 8-4. Still definitely possible, but it looks a lot better for him now. I'll say that much.
And you're welcome for the reverse jinx.
Yeah, let's stay with the SEC for a little longer because there were a lot of SEC games that we need to talk about. Don't worry,
I know one in particular you can't wait
trust
to
me.
get to.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be fun. It's going to be spectacular. Real quick though, can we a special shout out to our good friend Mr. Billy Napier, because guess what? He lost again. This time to beat good old BK, have it your way. Now I will say this. I guess I'll start out with this. Obviously, we all know Florida ain't good. Florida's an absolute mess. DJ Lagway has wound up being a massive disappointment. Pretty much everything around Florida has just been an incredibly big, massive disappointment. Yeah, I mean, look at these stats. 1 touchdown, 5 interceptions for DJ Lagway. Complete another mess, man. You give credit to where it's due with LSU's defense. They at least managed to show up. But as per the usual, inconsistency, over conservativeness from our boy BK, Brian Kelly. I feel like eventually it's going to end up being their downfall. They are undefeated still, but obviously not in the way that you want it to be. In fact, it was so bad that when good old BK was asked about it, he immediately went off on the interviewer that was saying, well, we're 3-0. We're undefeated. We're undefeated. You're not. or whatever he said. We beat Florida. What more could you ask for? We beat Florida. Like, and he just completely popped off. You're asking ridiculous questions. We couldn't run the ball. Did you see that final run that we had? Yeah, look, 102 yards rushing, and a whole bunch of that came off of one run, buddy. You remove that 51-yard run, you've got 50 yards rushing. BK, I don't know why you're getting mad at them for asking the questions that need to be asked. This is the thing. He cannot take any responsibility for any sort of shortcomings. It's always their fault, somebody else's fault, the coordinator's fault, the quarterback's fault, the offensive line's fault. It can't be anybody. It can't be his fault. Nothing is ever his fault. It's always everybody else. So I feel like that mentality is going to do like it always does and screw LSU in the end. But thankfully for them, they played a walking dumpster fire known as Florida. And I mean, we all know it's going to be a matter of time before our boy Billy gets fired.
Yeah, I sent you earlier a message on Discord of a little sneak peek of my week 3 recap video that I'm going to drop on Patreon probably tomorrow at this point. And you saw my thoughts on Mr. Brian Kelly. I'm not a fan. Let's just put it like that. I absolutely obliterated him in that clip I sent you. But I'm going to approach this from a different perspective for a moment here. Okay. So there's a saying I heard from somebody once: a gold nugget covered in shit is still covered in shit. You're number 3 in the nation, but you've looked like shit the entire way. You are the least deserving top 5 team in the top 5 right now. Bar fucking none. That's not even a question. You in the SEC, when you're playing teams like, your classic powers like Alabama, your Texas, your Georgias, you're gonna run into some really tough competition. When you play those games, you're going to expect to be in a dogfight the entire 4 quarters, no question. But then you get your teams like Mississippi State, your Floridas, and the ones that are just putrid, right? And you are expected to take care of those teams accordingly. That didn't happen here with Florida. Florida held in. In fact, Florida had the lead at one point in the first quarter. It was 13-10 at the half. LSU's offense absolutely 100% was not functional. And that's really bad news, considering that usually it's the other way around. Usually we're talking about LSU's defense is not functional, and they're giving up 30 points a game, and they're lucky they scored 35. The table has turned here. The defense got 5 interceptions in this game. Offense didn't do fucking shit. Like, they got shut out in the second half. The only touchdown that happened in the second half was a pick 6. They got shut out in the second half by Florida. If I'm a Bayou Bengal fan right now, I'm livid looking at this result. And if Brian Kelly thinks we should all just be happy they won, brother, how long have you been coaching? How long have you been here? Are you that fucking stupid? It's ridiculous.
He's been coaching for a while, though. Yeah, BK, you got it. You ain't got no other choice but to have it your way. That's all there is.
He has even less excuses to fucking act like this.
No, you're absolutely right. All right, well, before we get to our main events, before we get to week 4, let's give a few shout outs to where they're due. First off, shout out to Arizona. Arizona's undefeated. They beat Kansas State. Yes. Kansas State is a walking train wreck, as we all know. Who else is also undefeated, you ask? Well, Houston. The Houston Cougars are 1-0 in the Big 12. Yeah, scratching my head on that one. They wound up beating Colorado at home. So down go the Buffaloes. They're now 1-2. Going to probably have to make a statue for Connor Wegman now. Retire his jersey. Thanks for the $2 super chat. Can A&M finally be a contender for the college football playoffs?
Comrade.
It's not of the realm of possibility now. After seeing that, they can. After seeing that, they can. But yeah, Houston and Arizona, both undefeated. Also undefeated at this point. NC State, they're now 1-0 in the ACC after beating Wake Forest. And good old Dickert over there. I thought his name was Jimmy Dickert, but I didn't even realize it was Jake Dickert. Yeah, I'm not that smart individual. Also, shout out to Miami, the Miami Hurricanes. Down go the South Florida Bulls. Basically, their run has proven that Boise State and Florida are terrible, but South Florida is still a pretty good team. They hung with Miami for as long as they could, but the offense was never able to get going, and so eventually
that rain delay didn't help them either, and just completely fucked up their cadence, I bet.
Yeah, right. Shout out to the UTEP Miners. They didn't win, but they came awfully close because, oh boy, Arch Manning is terrible. Or at least he was terrible in that game. I'm waiting for him to get it together, but now here we are through 3 games, and he just has it. Yeah, he doesn't look like this quarterback that he was all hyped up to be. Not even close.
Absolutely. He played like trash. 10 straight completions in the first half. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, but a quarterback doesn't win a game with his legs. He's got to be able to throw the ball too, and he did not throw the ball very well at all. And not to mention this, outside of Arch Manning, Texas is injured to shit. Quintrivion Wisner, C.J. Baxter, they're 1 and 2 running backs. They're out right now. Baxter, I think he aggravated a hamstring injury in the first snap. Wisner's been out since game 2. So he's been out since game 1, I think. So like and it's not just the running backs. They also got a couple of linemen that are hurt too. So the injury bug is biting Texas hard right now. And Manning's play is not helping whatsoever.
Yeah, no doubt. Real quick, Sevdast, you're Red and Squid. Just want to pop in and say that I'm doing the reporting at the student radio for Mizzou versus South Carolina. Well, I hope for the best, buddy. That's going to be fun. Yeah. Look at the milkshakes. Look, man, I need it this week. I need to. I'm sorry. I don't have a choice.
Donate now to the milkshake fund.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. All right. Continuing onward. Shout out to we do have some more shout outs. Shout out to Tulane. Tulane wound up beating Duke. Daria Mensah, he put up a good performance against his former school, but he was not able to pull it out on the road at Tulane. So shout out to the Green Wave. They're still in contention for that spot in the playoffs, 3-0.
Oh yeah, very much.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So hard to definitely in a good spot there. Real quick, Ron Gav 248 with a 5 says, after hearing UCLA fire their coach at Tennessee, change the lock on the door because Nico going to come back like John Cusack with the boombox. Trust me, the locks are tight this time. Viper Technician with the 2 says, talking of injuries, look at Houston after Colorado. They got messed up pretty bad. Love you, Squid Tarf. Love you too, man. Love you too. All right, next up, we do the shout-outs must continue. Shout out to Cal. They're also undefeated, actually. They beat Minnesota at home. And that quarterback they got, we're just going to call him JSK or JKS. Dude's really good. The freshman that they got, he's good. Yeah. They better give him a big-time NIL package.
Oh, I bet they will. They're going to do everything they can to keep him, that's for sure. He might just end up going walking somewhere else for more money at some point. Cal needs to dig deep in their pockets. Yep.
All right. Shout out to Boston College for being so unfathomably terrible that they lost to the dumpster fire of all dumpster fires, Stanford. Yes. Freaking Boston College and Bill O'Brien went out there and got beat by the trees. Prevented the 0-12 from happening. So, womp womp. Way to go, Bill O'Brien. Good job. Good job.
Boston College has done the traditional running into the fucking wall of trees.
Yep, that's about how it goes. Thank you for the 2, Bates.
Boston All right, College lost to the Reich. Oh, yeah. God.
Shout out to we must continue. Shout out to both of our newest members of the FBS, Missouri State and Delaware. Both of them put up pretty good performances over this week. Missouri State didn't win, but they took SMU. They gave them a lot of trouble. Started out 10-0. It was 14-10 at halftime. They just weren't able to get it together past that point, but they still put up a good fight. And then Delaware, Delaware knocking off UConn. How about that? That's their first FBS win here in the FBS.
I'm
So
so
congratulations to the
Michigan
Blue
Lights.
Hens.
I'm so proud of them.
Yeah, good old Michigan Light. Yeah. Congratulations to both of those schools. Shout out to the Backyard Brawl. That game was a spectacle. West Virginia and Pitt, and I had a lot of hype in Pitt this year, and obviously it was extremely unwarranted. I know there's a lot of rivalry that it's a big time rivalry, so of course it's going to be close no matter what. But I was very much expecting Pitt to get the jump on West Virginia there. I thought they were the way better team. But Eli Holstein did not look good at all. They weren't able to get anything going after the first half. Or actually, I take that back. No, it was the first half was where they weren't able to get anything going. They clawed their way back in the second half, got the game into overtime, and then from that point onward, that's when Holstein crapped all over himself, and that's how they went down. So it's unfortunate. But yeah, shout out to the Backyard Brawl. It's always a fun game to watch. Unfortunately, won't be able to watch it for another 4 years unless they.
But then after that, it's like agreement. 6 or 8 in a row.
Oh yeah. By that point, I'd say it'd probably just end up being a permanent rivalry. We'll see, but
as it should be.
Yeah, good on West Virginia though for getting that big win. They needed it after losing to the MAC. JCR 1216, appreciate the 2, says Charlotte 49ers going to college football playoffs 10-2, UNC 11-1 to the Natty. Yeah, and then you woke up. All right, shout out to North Texas. Suddenly put themselves on the map this week. Yeah, 59-10 over Washington State. Wow. That is a win. They just outright completely dominated Washington State. The game was over in the first quarter. They blew them out. So now they put themselves on the map for that potential playoff spot. So good for them.
Imagine if North Texas makes the playoffs. Like that would be just the most uncanny shit imaginable. Like, okay, in one corner you have the Ohio State Buckeyes, and in the other you have who again? Like, what the
exactly
fuck?
Right. You make a really good point there. All right, and then finally, shout out to all of these teams who are still also undefeated. Forgive me if I don't name you. I'm only naming the ones that I see. Maryland, Nebraska, Missouri, Auburn, Texas Tech, and Utah, which both of those teams are actually facing each other this week, so that won't last for long. Ole Miss, who knocked off Pig Time, they're also undefeated. Congratulations to them. Iowa State nearly lost to Arkansas State on the road, but they did pull it out. So they remain undefeated at 4-0. Illinois also won. So congratulations to them. We talked about Miami already. They're still undefeated. Oregon, undefeated. Penn State, undefeated. Ohio State, undefeated. They went up against the MAC school that just beat West Virginia, and they still win. Kevin, appreciate the 2, says North Texas at college football playoffs. No, that would be strange. Definitely not out of the realm of possibility. All right, well, all that being said, you guys know what it's time for. There's a few things actually. You're gonna get to the get out section in just a minute, but it is time for me to suffer.
Yep.
And a lot of suffering happened on this very day and age. So I'm gonna say this. All right. Yeah. Blah blah blah. Yeah, we know. Yeah.
I'm just going to shut the fuck up and let you preach.
Yeah, I appreciate it. All right, well, I'm going to say this much. If you watch this game and don't think that both of these teams are contenders for the playoffs, you need to get your eyes checked. Both of these teams put up a hell of a performance today or on Saturday. They both fought their hardest, and that was the hardest I've seen Tennessee fight in a really, really long time. And I'm not here to claim some sort of moral victory because I'm going to get on that in just a second. But listen, before this game, the most we've scored on Georgia in the Heupel era is 17. For the last 4 years, we've done nothing but score 17 or less on Georgia. They have just dominated us defensively, and that's how it's always been. But Joey Aguilar comes in from UCLA, and this dude lights their asses up. Just obliterates that defense constantly. 21-7 in the first quarter. He was 14-14 for like 200 yards passing. It was one of the best offensive stats you could ever see in a quarterback. And as expected, like they always do, Georgia made really good adjustments in the second half, so got back into the game and managed to pull. But it wasn't like a thing where they got back in and then pulled away like it's always been. Tennessee immediately came back, and then they'd score. Then Georgia would go, and they'd score. And then Tennessee would go, and then they score. It was your classic shootout rivalry game that's going to be looked at as probably one of the games of the year, if not the game of the year between both of these teams. It always seems that Georgia's always in these things. And a lot of that is definitely due to coaching. As you already know, Kirby Smart is one of the most resilient coaches. He's one of the most adaptable coaches. He can adapt to any given situation. Here's the thing about Georgia. If you want to put them down, you got to put them down. When they give you an opportunity, you can't get conservative. You can't just kick field goals and expect for them to just surrender. No, you got to go for the throat and you got to slit. You got to slice and dice and win the game. And here's the deal. That didn't happen. First off, thank you for the 21st century schizoid men. Could be worse. You could be the Denver Broncos. Yeah, not much worse than that. But here's the deal. There's a lot of things you could point this to, a lot of excuses, and Tennessee fans naturally are good at throwing out excuses for every single loss imaginable. And a lot of them are quick to blame the kicker. A lot of them are quick to blame the field goal kicker for that loss. And let's be real, that field goal kicker was not ready to kick that field goal whatsoever. And you can put that on the coaching staff that put him out there to kick it. It should have absolutely been Turbyville, a much more experienced kicker, or at least somebody else who knew what they were doing. But unfortunately, that's not how it panned out. So here's the deal. We go up by a score. We're up by 5, I believe. And then Georgia goes on their drive. We get a strip sack. Stockton fumbles the ball. Tennessee recovers deep in Georgia territory. Any coach who knows who Georgia is knows they cannot get conservative right there. And considering how well Aguilar has played up until that point, the move that would have made the most sense from many people's perspective, including my own, would be to go put him out there, let him sling the football, and if they score the touchdown, guess what? Now we're up by 2 scores with 5 minutes or less left to go in the game. And then Georgia's got to really claw their way back, and if they want to get the jump on Tennessee. It makes it much harder for them to do that, though. Because let's be real, Georgia has always found the way to bullshit their way out of every single loss they imagine. Every single loss. They almost did it to Bama. They did it against Georgia Tech in the 8 overtimes. They were down by 2 scores with 5 minutes left. They go back, get Tech to fumble the ball. They go and then they score. They've found every single way to get out of a loss. So, like I said, if you want to beat them, you literally have to just constantly go out there and be aggressive. You got to go in there and be aggressive for the entire 4 quarters, but that's not what we did. Instead, what Heupel did was he went out there, ran into the ball up the middle 3 times, and then we kicked the field goal. We go up by 8, a 1-score game still. Then guess what happens? Georgia goes down the field. They score the touchdown. They get the 2-point conversion, and now it's a tie ball game. So now here we are with a couple of minutes left. Tennessee drives down the field with minimal time left, literally less than a minute. 30. Now it's 30 seconds. We're in field goal range. It's a 37-yard kick from where we're at. Time's going down. What do they got? 12 seconds left. Kirby uses his final timeout. There's 12 seconds left, a 37-yard field goal. You've got 1 timeout in your pocket. No, yeah, you got 1 timeout left. So the move that would have made the most sense in that situation, considering that Kirby was out of timeouts, is a 37-yarder. You send your kicker out there and you kick the dadgum field goal. But nope. Instead, what we do is we try to go out there, burn some more clock, take a risk that isn't necessary, try to run the ball a little bit more. Then guess what? A damn false start penalty. So now instead of a 37-yard field goal, it's a 42-yard field goal for a kicker who's probably smaller and less boned than even me. And then guess what happens, fellas? He misses the kick. We go to overtime. And then just as Clint Stoerner, that the fumble of Clint Stoerner and the curse that we made by doing that, guess what? The devil came to Knoxville and made us pay his dues again. We go out and lose the game to Georgia. So all that to say, I told you that big story right there, walked you through everything, because I think the person to blame most for this loss is absolutely Josh Heupel. No question about it. It is absolutely a coaching malpractice that lost us this football game. We had him. I mean, we did. We had him multiple times. And in these big games, you can't get you got to know what to do in these big games. Otherwise, especially against a team like Georgia with some of the best coaching out there, you're bound to piss it away. And that's exactly what we did. So we pissed ourselves against Georgia. We lose the game. It's now 9 in a row versus the Dogs. I have convinced myself that we are never beating them ever again. That's just a fact at this point. But the good news is about that is you don't have to beat them. In this new age of college football, you don't have to necessarily beat them in order to win the championship. Ain't that right? Red knows about that. He does. Because, yeah, they can't beat Michigan, but he doesn't need to beat Michigan to get a national championship. So, yeah, it's the truth, man. Sorry. So, all that to say, Tennessee proved in this game that they can compete with anybody in the country. The rest of the schedule after this game looks a lot more favorable. We can win out. I'm not saying we will. I'm not saying we won't. I'm not saying anything. But the possibility of us winning out is certainly there. And hell, we might meet them again in the SEC championship if we somehow make it there, or the playoffs, or wherever the hell else. I don't really know. But all that to say, this is an experience I hope Heupel learns from. I've had time to kind of sit on this loss. You know, I said fire Tim Banks in the initial reaction of that loss. And I don't actually think we need to fire Tim Banks, because look, we were down our two strongest corners in this game, one of our best linebackers. We were down a lot of defensive pieces, and you know, so I'm not necessarily going to complain too much more about a loss like that. All we got to do now is just lock the hell in and win out the rest of the way. That's all we got to do. So there you go. That's my reaction. Red, you can take over.
Well, mine will be short and sweet. Y'all played pretty well. I'm even going to say as much in my video about week 3 that I'm going to drop tomorrow at the latest. I thought Tennessee played extremely well. Joey Aguilar proved me right with everything I was thinking that he could be. He played extraordinarily well. At one point, he couldn't miss on throwing the ball. He went 14 for 14 at one point on passing, and when they were up 21-7. He played exceptional. Chris Brazzell, is that his name? Chris Brazzell?
Chris Brazzell.
Brazzell. Well, I mispronounced his name. Brazzell, phenomenal wide receiver. I was wondering if you guys were going to have an answer after you lost Squirrel White. You do. You guys are in good hands there. What I got confused over wasn't necessarily the fact that it was Josh Heupel coaching, shitting his pants. I think I just kind of forgot about the fact that Tennessee normally doesn't do this shit where they're competitive in a shootout like this. They usually just kind of roll over and die. Mm-hmm. And they did this time. And it literally came down to a kicker that got put in a shitty situation that lifted Georgia. Georgia didn't win because they were the better team. I don't think Georgia won because of circumstance. Mm-hmm. If there is anything to hang your hat on after this loss, it's that. I thought Tennessee was the better team. Tennessee surely should have won that game. They didn't. Georgia snuck away in the dead of night with the win. But I think this is definitely what you say, a learning experience for Heupel. It's nothing to really beat him up about. Could he have done better on his position? Yeah, sure. Could Joey Aguilar maybe be more consistent late in the game? Yeah, definitely. Could your defense improve? Most definitely. But, I mean, you went toe-to-toe with Georgia, and they left with a bloody nose and a black eye. Yeah, they still walked away with the win, but you got them good in that one.
No, you said it. You said about as good as I could, man. So we're going to find out all about this, what the backbone of Tennessee is like in due time. Thankfully, I get to rest next week because UAB is coming to town, and and I get to kind of lay back and relax a bit. But then the conference slate begins, so we're going to find out real quick what kind of
Fear
backbone
the Blazers.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we see, we're already 50 minutes into the show, so we got to move fast. But before we do, we got to say goodbye to a few faces of
You got the
a
super
few
chat up, so we
programs.
need to read.
Yeah. I of course that too. Funk Velic, appreciate the 2, says Auburn gonna wake people up next Saturday. WDE. We'll see. We'll find out all about it. It's Auburn. I mean, they are undefeated still, so that has to go for something.
Yeah,
All right,
I think they're undefeated mainly because of their schedule. Like they played a really high-powered Baylor team that has no fucking defense for one of their wins.
Yeah, you're right. Well, anyway, it's time to say get out to a few faces. We're going to start out with our boy from the ACC, good old Virginia Tech's Brent Pry. And I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, I knew he was probably out this year, especially after losing the first 2 games of the year. Let's be real here, man. I kind of had a feeling that this was going to happen, where they were going to lose to Old Dominion and then he was going to get canned. It's basically exactly as Nebraska or Scott Frost went out at Nebraska, sort of the exact same sort of problems. I mean, they can't get anything going in any capacity. Their defense is Their defense is horrendous. Their offense, it's completely bipolar, sometimes on, sometimes off. You never really know exactly what you're going to get with this team. And to get run out of your own field like that by the Monarchs, it was just kind of pretty much Old Dominion sending them off and telling them to go bye-bye. That's about the basic premise of what you just saw there. So it's a dadgum shame, man.
Yeah, it really is. I've always had a soft spot for Virginia Tech. They have by far one of the best entrances to college football with Metallica's Enter Sandman. I remember growing up whenever they would get the occasional night game, big time, primetime game on ABC or ESPN, and that Lane Stadium would be jumping up and down to Enter the Sandman, and it would just be so hyped. And now this is what it's been reduced to. And I can't help but wonder how the fuck it got so bad that you made a rivalry with Old Dominion by accident. Virginia Tech is 4-3 against Old Dominion since they began playing each other in 2017. That literally is all you need to know.
That tells the whole
ACC
story.
Power 4 conference school now has a de facto rivalry with Old Dominion because even though they pay them money to show up and play them, they can't seem to fucking beat them. Old Dominion needs to start paying Virginia Tech. It's not even a fucking joke at this point. It's just the fact. And this was the most lopsided group of 5 ass whipping over a Power 4 school. Yeah, North Texas beat up Wazoo 59-10. That's pretty brutal. I won't lie to you. But we all know Wazoo is kind of mid, right? They're not going anywhere this year. They're in the Pac-2. They ain't doing shit. Virginia Tech was supposed to take a step forward this year. They've been supposed to be taking a step forward for the last 3 years. And instead, they got knocked on their ass and thrown off a cliff by the Monarchs of all teams. I'm not surprised Brent Pry got fired. As a matter of fact, it's probably the most deserved firing out of the 2 of them that happened this weekend because he has so much experience at this level, so much ability, knowledge, and experience that he's gained over his 30 years of coaching. And yet he surrounded himself with a bunch of guys that don't know Power 4 football, made a bunch of boneheaded decisions, and just got out-coached religiously every single game. He was the opposite of clutch. You get a 1-score game against Virginia Tech, the other team's going to fucking win every single time under Brent Pry. That's not even a given. And the coup de grace from the whole thing, Old Dominion's head coach was his best friend. And his best friend got his ass fired. That's a
Tisk,
mercy
tisk.
kill if I've ever seen it.
Tisk,
Fucking
man.
nuts.
Yeah, no, crazy. First off, I want to do a shout out Mia with the $2 super chat. Fellow collab mate, by the way. Appreciate you for the $2 super chat. All right. Well, yeah, no, I mean you hit it right on the money, brother. This Virginia Tech is absolutely horrendous. I mean that goes without saying. I think we all kind of understand that. I mean,
And it's so sad.
absolutely
It
terrible.
really breaks my heart. It really it doesn't take it takes a lot to break my heart for a college football team. Virginia Tech deserves so much better than this. They really do. That school is a school that is a proud football school that has been through its ups and its downs. It's produced great players and great moments like Michael Vick and the run for the BCS national title back in the early 2000s. In the tragedy of 2007, what they went through that year, and like that school deserves so much better than what they've gotten the last 10 years, and it really just it sucks to see from an outsider. I don't know. Like I see somebody in the chat saying y'all feel bad about Virginia Tech. I feel bad about Virginia Tech personally. That's my feelings. But if y'all don't feel bad about Virginia Tech, then cool. I'm not saying you should.
A smoke break with the 5 says Auburn can't even decide who their mascot is. That's funny. Appreciate the 5, buddy. Obates 2002 at the 5. Appreciate it, man. Says Virginia Tech should change their intro song to Nothing Else Matters by Metallica. Shout out to Nick Boras with the joke.
Just walk out of the tunnel with their heads swaying like, here we go.
Yeah, I mean, you're
None
not
of them touch the
you're
hokey
definitely
stone.
not wrong there. Yeah, you're definitely not wrong.
Put the hokey stone in the bin.
It's been a bad run for the Hokies, man. Just a bad run. They're going to need a good hire, and they're going to need a good one quick. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves in the perennial dumpster of Tank Conference of all places.
Squid, you know the name I keep hearing again? I wonder why I keep hearing his name as a potential replacement. Shane Beamer. It's already started again. Shane Beamer to Virginia Tech. It's literally the first name that everybody is rolling off of the tongue right now. And honestly, despite his denials and him wanting to stay at South Carolina, allegedly, after this season, Lenore Sellers is gone. So, I mean,
who knows?
Be an opening, homecoming. Just saying.
No. Viper Technician, appreciate the 5, says the Revival would be a much-watch shootout this season. If you haven't seen the 2014 version, it's a must-watch top 10 matchup. Or so he says. Appreciate the super chat, buddy. We'll definitely give that one a look. But yeah, tough luck for Brent Pry. Good luck the rest of the way. You'll make a good car washer for Steve Sarkisian in his car. Something like that. I don't know. We'll see.
I think his buddy that got him fired will take him in next season. I don't doubt that.
We'll see. That would be something.
Become a coordinator over there with his buddy.
Yeah. Well, right after, of course, the news of Brent Pry broke, it didn't take long for another one to bite his coaching tenure into the dust, and that was our boy from UCLA, Deshaun Foster. Now, I will say this does come as a little bit more of a shock to me because he got such a short leash as compared to Brent Pry, who's has been there for way longer. But UCLA was just so unbelievably bad, so uncompetitive. I mean, they were such a weak team. They're out there looking like a D2 school. And I'll pull it up for you right here so that you can really see how bad this got. But of course, they lost the first 2 games that they played. They lost to UNLV. They lost to Utah before that. And now here they are. They got absolutely obliterated by New Mexico and a quarterback that threw a total of 16 passes. He went 12 of 16, 152 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, their run game got exposed. Their passing game is absolutely terrible. Nico, again, terrible. What's new? Shocker. Big shocking revelation right there. He probably overthrew a bunch of guys in that game, too. They can't run the ball. They can't. I mean, they just can't do much of anything, man. They just look absolutely terrible all over the field. And, obviously the question had to be asked, like, how in the world do we ever even think about fixing this? Because this is so far beyond terrible that there really isn't much you can do to fix it in the short term. So the best way to go about it was to just go ahead and clean house, fire the coach, and they're probably going to fire everybody else too. And they're just going to have to start fresh. They're going to have to start anew. They're going to have to be like Stanford and then find somebody else who can just sort of rebuild this program from the ground up. Because ever since Chip Kelly went on his merry way, UCLA has just been nothing but an abject disaster. So once again, they got to go through yet another rebuild. And let me tell you, this one's going to get real ugly. And this goes for Virginia Tech too. Oh, yeah. Because the reason these are so bad for both of these schools because it's week 3 of the season, okay? We're really, really early in the season. The transfer portal window is going to be opening. And not only that, but the redshirt window is also open. With the exception of Iowa State and Kansas State, every other team that you're seeing here, with the exception of just that handful that played in week 0, they've only played 3 games. More importantly, Virginia Tech and UCLA have only played 3 games. So the redshirt window is absolutely still open. You're going to see way more players hitting the portal today, tomorrow, at some point in the distant future. You're going to see a whole lot more of that. I'm surprised there haven't been more as there are, but there will be. Not to mention you have a whole bunch of recruits already decommitting because a lot of these guys went there to be coached under that specific coach, and now he's gone. Guess what? They're gone too. They're going out to another school. So the ripple effects are absolutely going to be felt for these teams. It's going to take some serious rebuilding, and they might have to do what Colorado did under Deion Sanders for a year or two and build everything through the portal, because otherwise they'd be lucky to field the team. So tough luck, UCLA.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad for the rest of the team. You know, I'm not going to rag on UCLA any further because they're an absolute mess. But for Nico specifically, I mean, you got to think about this dude. This dude left us literally left us in the middle of the night, right? The day of our spring game, literally left the day of our spring game to see if he could go find a better deal. He tried to con us out of more money. His dad tried to con us out of more money, and look where it got him. None of the bigger schools wanted him. Not even any of the smaller schools wanted him. He basically had to beg UCLA just to play there because he took a $1.2 million cut just to be able to play with them. And look where it's got him. Now sitting, he was playing for a playoff contender, and now here he is playing for a tank bowl contender. So have a good time over there at UCLA, buddy. I mean, even I do feel bad for you for a little bit because I know a lot of this is due to the management from your dumbass father. So again, there really isn't much else I could say about it. And I mean dumbass in the brightest way that I can. Dumbass football wise, I guess that's the best way I can put it. Red, what you got to say?
This is a tough situation. On the one hand, you got Virginia Tech, who fired their head coach, and honestly, it was completely inexcusable for Pride to continue to struggle like he had. That start with 0-3 was just, I mean, that was the absolute right move. This one, on the other hand, what did Deshaun Foster do wrong here? Genuinely, what the fuck did he do wrong? He became the head coach despite having little to no experience play calling at this level. He's been with, I feel especially bad for Deshaun Foster, and it's because he played for UCLA before going pro in the NFL. He was an All-American with the UCLA in the early 2000s. Played pro for 6-8 years or something like that. Retired, came back to his alma mater, and became a graduate assistant. Worked his way up the ranks to a positions coach for the running backs. He went to Texas. I did a whole research on him today after he got fired yesterday. The only other experience he has coaching is he spent a year at Texas Tech as a running back coach for them, and then came back home to UCLA shortly after. He was about to go to Vegas to become a coordinator over there before Chip Kelly got fired, or Chip Kelly left, I should say. He didn't get fired. He just left. And when he came back, he just volunteered, and UCLA thought, you know what? They didn't hire Deshaun Foster because he was a bright candidate that is really good and is proven in his job, because he had never been a head coach before. He had never even been a coordinator. He had been only position coach. They hired him for one reason only, and that was because Chip Kelly did somewhat good, and they thought Foster could maintain what Chip Kelly had started, when in reality, It was the dumbest fucking decision for everybody involved because Foster now is thrown into the fire of being a head coach in a Power 4 conference, which, by the way, welcome to the Big Ten, UCLA. Enjoy your stay. Management sees them going 5-7, starting 0-3, and thinking, oh, he's the fucking problem, when in reality, you signed him up for failure. Because all the kids that were going to go to UCLA left when Chip Kelly left. And then you got the transfer portal issues. And you lost a lot of great players in the offseason. And then Nico comes in last minute, and you're thinking, oh, UCLA, they might have a chance. Well, unfortunately, a quarterback is not the only player that matters on a football team. It's just not. And we could shit on Nico. Nico didn't play awful on Saturday night. Like, I don't think he wasn't great, but he wasn't anything terrible either. That game alone was just a culmination of just like, you lost to a school that hadn't been beaten an FBS Power 4 conference team since 2008 in New Mexico. Like, they're one of the doormats of the Mountain West. They have been for a long time. They've not done anything good. And this is probably just UCLA panic button hitting by firing Deshaun Foster, who has given literally decades of his life to UCLA. Guys, no, you did this the wrong way. Completely the wrong way. You should have fired the athletic director with him. Period. There's more than just one person responsible for this complete collapse. You want to talk about rebuilding from the ground up? I'm talking down to the studs. Get rid of everybody that was responsible for the last 3 years and start from scratch. And I'm talking about people in the offices as well. That's the only way. If you want UCLA to become good again in a short period of time, you got to start completely over. And if I was Nico, I'd look into redshirting. I wouldn't stick around this dumpster fire because it's not going to help him or his draft stock.
He ain't. He ain't.
He ain't gonna go. He ain't gonna do shit at UCLA. And this is like, he needs to save himself and declare himself a red shirt. It's the only way that's the only way he course corrects now.
It's a flat out mess everywhere you look at it, man. But I know people have been requesting that I use this, so might as well. Where is it? Yes, it is right here. It's been a good time, Brett Pry, Deshaun Foster, but there's only one thing left to say to you, and that is, it worked. All right, great. Okay, I want to make sure that worked, and it did. Yeah, get out. That's absolutely right. All right, well, we got 20 minutes left. We better hurry as fast as we possibly can here. We got some games to talk about, shall we? Because there are a lot of good ones on tonight or next Saturday.
Tonight? It's Monday, man. NFL's on.
I know, man. Look, I have a tendency of saying that. Don't worry about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first we'll start out with this one here. This is a Friday night primetime matchup right here between a game you probably don't want to watch. This is 8 o'clock on Fox. Iowa. 2-1 Iowa taking on undefeated Rutgers Scarlet Knights. The Iowa Hawkeyes are a 2.5-point favorite on the road. Who you got for this one?
I'm going to go with Rutgers in a slight, I think this is going to be the ultimate, okay, hey, here's Rutgers, and this is going to be fucking them just as their coming out party to finally play against a good team. So I'm picking Rutgers to get the nice win over Iowa because Iowa still can't fucking offense.
All right. Wow. So it's going to be tough, I think, because, well, Iowa, I do like Gronowski. I think I really do. I like Gronowski. He actually put up some really good yards on Iowa State. He has the potential. The problem is just that their play style is so weak. So I think Rutgers is going to take some risk here. I'm with you, Red. I've got the Scarlet Knights winning that one too.
Hell yeah!
It's going to be a good game though. Well, as good as it can get, because Oklahoma State also plays that night. So we ain't going to want to watch that. So
no.
Here's one that everybody's going to have their eyes on for all the right reasons. This is basically this almost feels like the Big 12 championship in a way.
Mhm.
Texas Tech, number 17 Texas Tech versus number 16 Utah. Both of these teams undefeated going into this game. And there is a lot of hype around both of these schools, the way they've been playing as of recently. Utah coming in as a 3.5-point favorite, actually, over the Red Raiders. Excuse me. But this is two squads with a pretty good quarterbacks, both Baron Morton and Devon Dampier. I'm gonna have to learn on the pronunciation of that. But both of them have played above their pay grade, I think, and they've been really, really fun to watch. But Texas Tech is just so talented everywhere, and Utah is so fundamentally good. It's literally this is talent versus fundamentals right here. It's literally that game. So which one matters more, I think, is what people are going to be asking throughout this entire matchup. Because you can always count on Kyle Whittingham to get the fundamentals down. Texas Tech, just a super talented roster overall. Red, I'm conflicted on this one, but who you got?
I'm gonna go ahead and say this right now. How much? Actually, I'm gonna ask a question. How much did Texas Tech spend on their roster again? In NIL?
I know it was a somewhere 20 million or above. Pretty sure.
Yeah, over $20 million, give or take.
Yeah, somewhere around that range.
This is the kind of games you got to win if you're going to invest over $20 million in a roster. This is it right here. This is the game that Texas Tech needs to show out and prove they belong. Utah has a surprisingly good start to the season. I will give them props for that. They have, they did handle UCLA really well. They knocked the shit out of Wyoming and Cal Poly, sure. What has Texas Tech done so far this year? Well, they beat the shit out of Kent State and Arkansas Pine Bluff, and then they beat the shit out of Oregon State. So these two teams in the lead-up are doing the exact same shit. This is going to be the first true game for both of them. So it's a coin flip, in my opinion. But what do I always say on my YouTube channel? Money talks, bullshit walks. Therefore, the money is talking at Texas Tech. And I'm going to say the Red Raiders are going to take this one in a shootout.
And as you know, the BS certainly is walking. Can't deny that. Yeah, give me Texas Tech as well. I just think, they've got so much talent on the squad that I just think it's just going to overwhelm Utah. I think they're going to take advantage of maybe some holes on the roster, and I think the Red Raiders are going to get it done. But it's not going to be, they're not going to like blow them out or anything. It's going to be a brawl. It is. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a fun game to watch.
100%.
Let's see here. Another battle, because we have quite a few undefeateds facing off against each other. And here's another one I think is going to be very, very entertaining because of the narratives around this one. So this is going to be a fun one to cover, I think. Auburn and Oklahoma, both of these teams somehow undefeated heading into week 4. Jackson Arnold heading back to Norman, this time up against the Sooners. You best guarantee they're going to be booing him the entire game. But the offense overall looks pretty good. The defense looks well guarded. Oklahoma, though, they look really, really good as well, especially on the offensive side of the ball. John Mateer obviously been everything that they want and more. So it's going to be fun. Red, put it back on you. Who you got?
Mateer and Arnold are both playing exceptionally well to start the season, but I'm going to make a couple of distinct differences right now. Look at the interception counter. Mateer has thrown 3 picks to his 5 touchdowns. Arnold is a perfect 4 touchdowns. No interceptions. Arnold is the savvy veteran, and he knows the Norman environment extremely well. I know I said Auburn's not going to win more than 4 games in this season, so I'm just going to go ahead and say Auburn gets their 4th win, and then they lose 8 straight. Sorry, Phoenix. But Auburn wins this game. I think they got a lot of – Arnold has been playing like a bat out of hell and has played exceptionally well to start the year. Oklahoma's got a lot of good pieces going on, and they did beat Michigan, but there's still a lot of question marks that I'm not really for sure that they're all the way where they need to be. So give me Auburn. War Damn Eagle.
All right. Well, there you heard it from Red. I'm going to deviate from his take here. I've got Oklahoma winning this game. And I think it's got less to do with the home crowd, I think, because you already, like you said, Jackson Arnold knows this home crowd pretty well. I think it's going to have less to do with that and more of the motivation that it'll bring towards Oklahoma, specifically their defense, because their defense has kind of been the thing that's impressed me so far. They've done a really good job of shutting down everybody that they've played. And I do think they're going to have more trouble against somebody like Auburn to shut them down. I think this could be one of those low-scoring defensive type of matchups. And in that scenario, I think Oklahoma is going to get them again. I've got the Sooners jumping over Auburn in a close one.
All right. We can agree to disagree.
It's a tough. That was a tough one to find out because you never know which team's going to show up, because both of those teams, other than the one game that they've been in, they played a bunch of doo-doo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, week 4, I should say, is always kind of the put up or shut up. Like, okay, now we're going to really start to find out which is the real gold, which is the fool's gold, who's the contender, who's a pretender. A lot of questions are going to get answered in week 4. Let's move on to the next one.
Absolutely. Yeah. So here's the deal. We saw this with South Florida and Miami. South Florida, they had a lot of hype going for them. They go into Coral Gables and they get beat down by the Hurricanes. Now it's another G5's turn to see if they can rise up to the occasion and get the monstrous upset. And that goes to our boys, the Tulane Green Wave. Jake Retzlaff and Julane head in over to Oxford to face off against the Ole Miss Rebels coming in at number 13, who both of these teams, again, undefeated. Ole Miss coming in as an 11.5-point favorite at home. This will be a tough one, I think, for Ole Miss, because Tulane's offense, I think, has the potential to go blow for blow with them. We saw kind of like what Pig Time did, because Arkansas, they also went blow for blow with them.
Yeah.
They've got some serious holes on the defense, and I think Retzlaff's going to take huge advantage of them. But it's going to be a tough game. Who you got, Red?
So I've been saying this for the last 2 weeks. Ole Miss is begging to get embarrassed. They are a mess. If you watch them play on the field, they are an absolute fucking mess. They lack discipline. Their quarterback, Simmons, is extremely raw. 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, only 580 passing yards. The running back, Lacey, he's the only one really saving them right now. But outside of that, it is kind of like a clusterfuck. Tulane, on the other hand, Julane, I should say, on the other hand, Jake Retzlaff walked on to Tulane and has absolutely gone leaps and bounds further, and he done way more than Darian Mensah would have ever done if he had stayed at Tulane and not gone to Duke, because he beat the piss out of Duke the other week or on Saturday night. So, I know it's Ole Miss. It's in Ole Miss. It's going to be at Vaught Hemingway. And I understand that's a really tough environment to play in. Retzlaff has played in some really tough environments in the Big 12. He's used to shit like this. He's experienced. And Ole Miss is due. They've been flirting with disaster 2 weeks in a row. They flirted with Kentucky down the drain before they pulled themselves out the last minute. They flirted with Hog City before they dropped the bacon. So I'm going to go ahead and say I think the Green Wave are going to pull off a big upset and make themselves stand out as the clear and obvious group of 5 contender for the playoff.
Wow, that took the words right out of my mouth there, man. I'm right there with you. I've got Tulane getting the upset over Ole Miss. Again, it's going to be a tough ball game. I don't think either team is going to run away with this one unless if Retzlaff just comes out and throws 29 interceptions. But I highly doubt that's going to happen. Retzlaff has definitely been the more poised quarterback in the pocket than Austin Simmons has. I think that Tulane defense is going to get inside the head of Simmons, and I think it's going to be just enough for the Green Wave to get the jump on the Rebs. And then, like you said, it'll turn them into the obvious playoff contender for the G5.
Yeah, but
or I guess
league, right?
Yeah, different leagues. I guess we could say G6 now because, Pac-12.
Where do you put the Pac-12, right?
Yeah, at this point, you might as well just go ahead and drag him in there. Hey, here's one I know you'll love to talk about. It's your favorite team. I think you already know where I'm going with this joke, but you might see him lose again this week, man. This is going to be a tough one for him. The Michigan Wolverines, coming off that loss to Oklahoma, they beat the ever-living hell out of Central Michigan. Now they're going into Lincoln to face off against the undefeated Nebraska Cornhuskers. Nebraska had a really tough competition with Cincinnati early in the year. Then they won their last 2 games. Now they're coming in as a 2.5-point underdog to the Wolverines. This is going to be a brawl, I think. I know I've said that about a lot of games, but I'm pretty confident about this one being a back and forth type of matchup. I don't think it's going to be a shootout in any capacity because, we all know Michigan ain't capable of that. But I do think they're going to put up some sort of fight offensively. It's going to be a fun game to watch, I think. So, Red, let's hear your take. Who you got?
Might be biased as fuck sounding like this, but I don't think this is going to be a clear. I don't think this is going to be a balanced shootout. I think Nebraska's going to beat the shit out of Michigan. Here's why. Did you watch that Oklahoma game a couple weeks back?
Oh yeah, I sure did. I know where
Michigan
you're going with this.
Yeah, Michigan completely imploded. The trust is not there for Bryce Underwood. Like I think, yeah, okay, sure, they go and they beat the piss out of fucking Central Michigan on Saturday. Anybody could do that in the Power Four. Sure, that's a nice little course correction game to kind of get, all right, we got to win back. Well, now you're going into Memorial Stadium, against Nebraska. If this was 3-4 years ago, you'd probably be like, yeah, okay, they're going to walk in, they're going to clean house, and they're going to go home with the win. Well, Matt Rule has given Nebraska its balls back because they're going to be loud and they're going to be roaring. And if there's only and Nebraska, this is literally the only thing in town for them to get rowdy about. Michigan's in trouble. Raiola has played exceptionally well to start the year. He shut me up week 0 against Cincinnati, or week 1 against Cincinnati, and was able to play. He's got a ton of potential, and he's got some good weapons around him. I'm going to say that I think Nebraska at least wins minimum 2 touchdowns. I really think it's not going to be a close game. I think Michigan's going to get embarrassed here.
All right. I don't think they're going to necessarily get embarrassed, but I do think Nebraska wins. A lot of the takes that you threw out, I definitely do agree with. Michigan seemed that they don't really trust Bryce Underwood. And if this were a home game, I'd be more confident in picking Michigan because I feel like they'd let him sling the ball a whole lot more. But it's sort of the same issues every time. They've just got this weak, pathetic offense that just doesn't move at all. And because they don't let them really do anything. It's basically run, pass, make a screen, a little bit more than that. It's like what people think of Mike Bobo from Georgia. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Michigan's just, they're clearly getting caught in a real building year. And this is not saying that Bryce Underwood couldn't be a good quarterback next season or whatever. He's just green. And it's going to take some time for him to really develop as a leader. And he's just not there yet.
Mm-hmm. He's close. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. He's got a ways to go. And I'm trying to not be biased saying that either. Like, I'm a Buckeye, but like, fuck, what do you have to be confident in if you're Michigan right now?
Or so they say.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up. I guess we just go ahead and touch on this one really fast. I mean, we kind of all know this is going to be like a brutal execution. But let's cover it anyway because I'll take all the material I need to rag on Florida some more. They got to go into the number 4 Miami to face off against the Hurricanes. I'm sure the spread is increased in favor of Miami. Oh, that is a little small. I am a little surprised by that. In favor of 3, just 3. In favor of a field goal, the Miami Hurricanes are. Well, they're going to cover, and they're going to do a whole lot more than cover. They're going to outright win by a whole lot.
I just feel like this is the game that officially breaks Florida. I really do. You're walking into Coral Gables. Well, I guess it's not Coral Gables at this point. You're walking into Hard Rock against Miami in their home stadium, even though it's not on campus and they're just, renting it from the Dolphins. Miami is playing very good. They got their swagger back. They've beaten Notre Dame. They've beaten the shit out of USF and their tune-up team. They're on all the momentum. Florida has been getting their asses whipped. DJ Lagway, he just threw fucking 5 interceptions in a single game. This team is they're broken. I don't know why College game days go into Miami. That's embarrassing, in my opinion. There's another game that we need to get to here in a minute that they should have gone to, in my viewpoint, but I'll save it for a moment. Miami wins by 5 touchdowns. It's going to be a brutal execution, like you said. It's a 5-touchdown game for the Hurricanes, and Napier finally gets the mercy kill.
Oh, you think this will be the one where he gets canned?
I think so, because if he goes into Miami and he loses by 4 or 5 scores, it's over. Like, if they do another bullshit, he should have been fired yesterday along with Pry and Foster, and the only reason he did is because they only lost by 7. If they were playing anybody else and Lagway had thrown 5 interceptions, they would have lost by 40.
Mm-hmm.
And he would have been fired immediately, because that's just embarrassing at that point. The Boosters would not stand for that. At least with that loss, they were able to save face. Like, well, we shut out their offense in the second half. Like, we got a chance. Hey, they're not going to get such mercy this time. It's so over.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, no, you're pretty on point with that one. Well, this is potentially our game of the week right here. So let's cover this one real fast. I'm pretty sure this is the one you're talking about. I'd be willing to bet the Big Ten, man. After all,
easily, yeah. I mean, it's not me being Big Ten biased, though. It's just because
no, it's not. Yeah,
it is such a unique situation. You got 2 top 25 rivals, basically. From what my girlfriend tells me, they don't like the Illini, and she's a Hoosier. So you got number 19 Indiana against number 9 Illinois in a showdown at Memorial Stadium in Bloomington. The fact that they get to have a night game and Ohio State doesn't piss me the fuck off, but we're going to look past that for a second. I'm going to be covering this game live on stream, so I'm also a little biased in that regard on Saturday night. This is the game I'm going to cover. This is going to be the ultimate test of, okay, these are your 2 dark horse teams coming out of the Big Ten this season. Illinois had a very successful 10-win year last year. Indiana made the playoffs and went 11-1. Both teams are already on the path to try to do the same thing again, if not better. So something's got to give here. It is the irresistible force against the immovable object. Mendoza been fucking been firing out like a cannon here. Altmaier firing like a cannon here. Black, Fegan, Beatty, Cooper, Jones, Jay, these guys, these are 2 really good teams that we have in front of us here. And it's a shame that they don't have ties anymore, because I bet you this would end in a tie. It's going to be close. It's going to be a nail biter. No matter who wins, it's going to be a very tired Sunday morning for these guys after a late night fight. I got the Hoosiers winning this one. I think Cignetti has proven himself a lot more. Who the fuck is Illinois' head coach still? Like, his name escapes me.
Good old Bert Bielema was Brett Bielema, but
yeah, Bielema. That's it. Yeah, I was like, I remember him because he coached at Wisconsin. Bielema, like he's very prone to choking in high pressure situations, and Cignetti is very much cool under pressure. He enjoys this shit. So I'm going to go with the Hoosiers. And I think Mendoza himself is going to have a little bit of a breakout night on national television.
All right. Well, you heard him. Here's the deal with this game. It is definitely a high-stakes Big Ten brawl right here, because whichever team wins this game, they both have favorable schedules the rest of the way. So we could see a scenario where if Illinois wins this game, they could be a playoff team with all said and done. It's going to be a tough brawl for them, because once again, they got to go on the road and try and face off against what's a pretty good Indiana team. And I used to think what you thought, Red, that they would kind of just collapse under pressure, kind of break from, in the close games. But then I saw what they did against Duke, and I realized, no, that ain't what this Indiana team, this Illinois team is built different, built quite a bit different. And they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Luke Altmaier has been absolutely phenomenal, just slinging the ball all over the place. They've got weapons all over the field, and similar to Indiana. But what Illinois does have. They've got spirit. They got the talent fee. They've got everything they need. I think Illinois pulls this one out. I think I've got the fighting Illini getting the jump on the Hoosiers here, coming in as an underdog against Indiana. So give me the underdog there.
Real quick, I do want to kind of hold your horses here on Illinois having an easy schedule the rest of the way. They don't. Guess who they have on their schedule still?
Oh, well,
Ohio State.
I mean, I said it was an like who else do they play?
Really, that's it.
Yeah,
and in Indiana, they don't have a cakewalk either. They got Oregon and Penn State.
Yeah.
So,
well, Indiana had Ohio State last year, and you saw how that turned out.
Yes, true. But outside of Ohio State, they didn't really have a whole lot of these other like really tough teams. They didn't play Oregon. They didn't play Penn State. They kind of got
I'm talking about Illinois. I mean, I see your point, but yeah.
With Illinois, like they got Ohio, they got USC, who's top 25 by the skin of their teeth. Yeah, sure, whatever. Fuck you. And then Ohio State, they got a much easier schedule the rest of the way than Indiana does. So if they win, they got a much better chance of running the table. I don't think they're beating Ohio State when we get to that point, but that's going to be a big game because if Illinois does win this game, that's number 1 against number 5 Illinois for the Ellebuck Trophy for the first time in 7 years.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's
that'd be something.
Yeah.
Kevin, appreciate the 5, says Indiana. I want to believe that Cignetti is the real deal, but I also think this will be 2021 Illinois versus Penn State. Oh, please don't let it be that because that means Red will have to stay up until probably till midnight watching it. And 9 overtimes. All right, real quick lightning round before we go ahead and call it wraps here. Here's your noon slate: Arkansas versus Memphis. Who you got there? Memphis is a 7.5-point underdog.
Yeah, I got Hog City in that one. They're going to get their win back.
All right, Arkansas, me too. Maryland, undefeated Maryland, 3-0 versus Wisconsin on the road. Wisconsin, a 9.5-point favorite. Who do you got in that one? Because I got Maryland. Because remember, it's still September. They still got the potential. I think they're going to start out 4-0.
Wisconsin's a fucking train wreck, and their Andrea quarterback is not helping them matter at all. Billy Edwards Jr. going down. It was really a big blow. I think the Terps are going to take this one and go 4-0.
All right. Syracuse versus Clemson. Clemson, a 17.5-point favorite. You think they cover that?
I think they cover it for sure. I think Clemson's going to be playing very pissed off, and they're going to get some vengeance against the poor Orange. Sorry, guys.
I'm right there with you. I've got them covering it too, but they might have a little bit of trouble. I don't know. SMU versus TCU. TCU, a 6.5-point favorite at home. I'm taking the Horned Frogs in that one. They looked really good against North Carolina. They are a force to be reckoned with this year. I think they're going to cause all kinds of trouble for Kevin Jennings and company.
Yeah, yes, sir. I think the iron skillet stays in TCU. They're going to, after SMU struggled against Missouri State last week as well, I think that shows even more that TCU is just going to come in and blow them the fuck out of the water.
Yep. UAB at Tennessee. Tennessee, 40.5-point favorites. Give me the Vols, and I think they cover.
Give me the Blazers.
To cover or what?
To win. All
right, I'll go ahead and remove you now.
No, Tennessee will win. That's a given. Joey Aguilar is going to come in and light up the Blazers for 5 touchdowns and go have himself a beer at halftime. That's what's going to happen against UAB. I just wanted to troll you a little bit.
Yeah. Do the ha-ha. Yeah, all right.
Hee ha.
Yeah. Hee ha. All right. Here we go. Civil War. Oregon State versus Oregon. Oregon State's winless. Oregon's undefeated. They're coming in as a 34.5-point favorites. The Ducks are at home. You think they cover that? Because I do.
I think I don't know. I think Oregon State's going to put up a fight. You know how these rivalries can get. Records kind of get thrown out the window whenever these things come up, and you can come up with all the stats in the world, but I don't think they're going to cover. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than what Oregon's going to want. Do I think the Ducks still win? Yeah, but I don't think they're going to cover. I think it's probably going to be maybe a touchdown, maybe 10 points max.
Yeah. All right. Purdue versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame's 26.5-point favorites. You think they win that?
Yeah. Purdue just is not where they need to be even be remotely competitive against Notre Dame right now, and Notre Dame's playing very pissed off. They need to get a win desperately, and they know it's going to be like urgent, number one priority. Give me the Irish.
Yeah. Super Nuclear, appreciate the 2. Why'd you ban Lardaria? Because I like watching the people that use it cry. Appreciate it though, buddy. North Carolina. Here you go. This is about as close as we'll get to a toilet bowl with 2 teams that have better records. North Carolina and UCF. UCF a 6.5-point favorite. Yeah, that's a tough one to decide. I really don't know who to pick for that one, honestly. I'm gonna pick North Carolina.
Give me the Knights. North Carolina, I haven't really watched them ever since week 1, obviously. And it's probably because they just had nothing but cannon fire to play against. Who they play? Charlotte and Richmond? Yeah, no. They won only 20-3 against Charlotte and 41-6 against Richmond. They haven't been impressive in any sort of way. Meanwhile, UCF, they've started out 2-0. They got 2 wins that they needed to get against Jacksonville State and North Carolina A&T. So I'm going to go ahead and just say that UCF starts to take that step forward and get back into it with a win against North Carolina. But I'm going to say it's like a field goal. It's going to be close. UCF also has home field advantage too. Remember that.
No, I do. I remember it. South Carolina going on the road to face off against number 23 Missouri. Missouri's 13.5-point favorites. Missouri's had South Carolina's number for all I can remember, except for with the exception of last year. But now they got to go into their Columbia, and boy, are they pissed. I bet. So yeah, give me Missouri.
Brett Perbula is going to absolutely tear the Gamecocks apart. Lenora Sellers is not going to be at 100% playing in this game, and that's going to really drag them down.
Mm-hmm. All right.
He plays all.
Yeah, right. Apple Cup, Washington State. The Huskies are actually coming in as 20.5-point favorites in this matchup. They're the road team, by the way. So that's an interesting one. 7:30 on CBS. Who you got?
Wait, Washington State's the road team?
No, Washington is.
Oh,
Wazoo is the home team. Yeah.
I was going to say, what the fuck? Yeah, they're not playing. Last year they played it in Seattle at the Seahawks Stadium, but they're actually playing it at Wazoo this year. I don't know why that's the case. Give me the Huskies. I mean, Wazoo got – I know Wazoo probably got caught looking ahead in that upset against Northern Texas, but you lost to North Texas by 49 points. There's a lot more wrong than just looking ahead there. Huskies.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then finally, we'll finish it out with this. Shout out to one of the only Big Ten games I've ever seen start at 11 p.m. at night. Michigan State on the road at USC. Both teams undefeated. So this is a battle of the undefeateds. Southern Cal, a 17.5-point favorite. Do you think the Condoms will cover, or do you think Michigan State can get the jump on them?
I think Michigan State has a pretty good chance to get the jump on them. We all know that USC is kind of fraudulent at times. That said, I don't think that necessarily that means they're going to win. Childs is a fine quarterback, but he's not really done enough in the first couple of games to really convince me that Sparty is back and able to really take over. I might sound like a bit of a hypocrite here, but I will be going with the Trojans on this one. Not by much. I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people expect.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. All right, man. Well, that's it. That's all the games we're going to cover for this week. Hopefully we get some good action. We kind of went a little bit over time, but that's okay because we had a great show tonight. A lot of great people, a lot of fun people here in the chat. Hoping for a great week of football with no injuries and just some classic good time football games. Appreciate all of you guys for watching. Appreciate all the super chats, all of our channel members, everything like that. You're all phenomenal people. Red, why don't you go in and end us out?
Thank you very much for watching. I do not have a catchphrase to end a show with.
Yeah, you'll get one at some point in time. Don't worry.
Stay frosty, lads.
Stay frosty, dear Lord. Yeah, okay.
Be on the lookout for my video coming out. I believe on no later than Wednesday. The recap week 3 in its entirety, give my thoughts, especially my take on Mr. Bryant Kelly's. That's going to be funny. And then obviously I'm going to be streaming the Indiana-Illinois game on Saturday night. That's going to be that's going to be great. It's going to be a good old fashioned barn burner. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Looking forward to it. Your guys' edition of the recap, as you all know, the College Football Chaos recap will likely be out Wednesday afternoon to Wednesday evening. It will be out sometime Wednesday because I do have another video coming right afterwards. And I think, I told you guys in the live stream, and you probably already know it, but, Georgia, Tennessee is getting its own video. So whoop-de-friggin' do. But, yeah, the recap's coming on Wednesday, and then Thursday will be the game of the century for Georgia, Tennessee. So that's all I've got for you guys. Appreciate all of y'all for watching. Stay tuned tomorrow, or probably I think for those of you who watch Tard Area Tuesdays, I'm probably going to be pushing it back to Wednesday because there's something special coming out Wednesday, and I wanted to play it live for you guys. So appreciate all of y'all for watching tonight. You're all phenomenal people. Love each and every one of you, and I'll see you guys in the next stream. And as always, of course, power to Tardaria. And I'll see you guys next time.
Drinking and driving is not okay. Don't quote